We are in East Tibet, high up in the historical region of Kham. During the long winter months, temperatures on these high plateaux often fall below -30 degrees Celsius, where altitudes can reach 5,000 meters. This is the land of yaks, snow-capped mountains, and nomadic grasslands. And the people who live in Kham, mainly farmers and nomads, are known as the khampas. Most of the former region of Kham is now called Kanzi Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture and is included in the Chinese province of Sichuan. This place, known as Daimashang in Chinese, was almost 60 years ago the birthplace of Phuntsog Wangyal, a founding trustee of the British charity Tibet Foundation. In June 2005, Phuntsog came back to his homeland to see some of the projects Tibet Foundation runs in the area. 5 months later, as winter approached, Karma Hardy, director of Tibet Foundation, and I followed his route. Tibet Foundation was set up in London in 1985. As a non-political and non-governmental organisation, Tibet Foundation works towards creating greater awareness of all aspects of Tibetan culture and helping Tibetan people where it is most needed. The foundation first started its charitable work with Tibetans in exile, mainly in India and Nepal. Then, in 1992, the situation changed in China and Tibet, which gave the foundation the opportunity to start projects inside China. The Aid to Tibet program was born.
Our main really work inside China, in the Tibetan areas, is only in 3 areas: education, healthcare, and economic development. And lately, we also, at the request of the local people, we started doing some cultural preservation work. Our basic principle, helping anywhere in the world, is that number one is that we work within the law of the country where we are helping, giving grants or helping people. Second thing is the initiative has to come from the local people with the full support of the local authorities and the government. And third thing is that we've got to have access of supervision, monitoring these things. These 3 things are once achieved, then we will work. If these 3 conditions are not met, then we don't do.
Things have changed in Tibet since Phuntsog left his country for exile in 1959, and all the indications are that these changes will continue on into the future. After passing the Kanzi prefecture border, we could already see that the region is now living in the modern world. Roads are in good shape, no longer horses and yak caravans, but cars, trucks and motorcycles everywhere. Arriving in Datsado, the prefecture's capital town close to the border, we don't see much difference from other Chinese towns. A busy, noisy town, a few Tibetan signs, but with all the signs of modernity. In Datsado, we went to visit 2 schools helped by the Tibet Foundation. For the rest of the trip, Sonam Wangchuk, representative of Tibet Foundation in Tibet, was our guide. Looking at the situation in Tibet, the lack of education of the Tibetan people is possibly their greatest weakness. Although children throughout China are entitled to 6 years of education, implementation in Tibet is very slow. To give an example, while the national rate of literacy is an impressive 85%, it falls to 40% in the Tibetan regions. In the Datsado schools, Tibet Foundation sponsors the poorest among the students by paying their allowance, no matter what their ethnic background may be. Sending a child to school is not only a serious expense to the family, but is also a substantial loss of income. These 20 children are new students of the higher middle school that during Punsok's visit, Tibet Foundation has made a commitment to sponsor.
在我8岁的时候，爸爸去世；在我9岁的时候，妈妈去世。家里还有2个哥哥。 我现在在孤儿院，我的爸爸妈妈都去世了。孤儿院，
The next leg of our journey led us to Kanzi town, 8 to 10 hours away from Dartsedo by jeep. As we go deeper inside Tibet, the altitude increases. From the 2,800 meters of Dartsedo, we reached 3,300 meters in Kanzi, managing to avoid altitude sickness. Outside the town, there are 2 primary schools that Tibet Foundation has been supporting. Jalton School, a privately run school, and Damajang School, a state-run school. Tibet Foundation started helping Damajang School in 2002 with funds from Sogyal Rinpoche. Since then, Tibet Foundation supplemented the funding used for building dormitories and giving food for more than half the students.
如说你都送过来，如说在别个老马在出了云南的，那个你这个老马大都等起得结个，抄完过来的，那个伢给公啥个天呢？如说在这点呢，这个老马个老用了比个检讨多，接来了知道吧？这这个也好可是那多，等你那个比最成功了，讲出了讨论个老马在做，等你老马的呢，等你一马好着呢。 等你或者一路或者地铁了没在哇，都那个两个没过的，这家个别这说如现在的，实际上没去个如现在个在几了，一般过说呢，这个他妈批准这么个哇，那个女工人了，家退出，这产了小店的，对才的了，工作人员的，看着他妈的了，他就要不济来的了，这干的切些。
Damajang School doesn't have a canteen yet, but the local government has plans to build one. It was brought to Tibet Foundation's attention that those students who could not get accommodation at the school would not be provided with a meal. Instead, they may have brought something from home, while all the others had a decent lunch. During Punsok's visit, the foundation made a commitment to redress this problem. Now, every student enjoys a hot meal during the lunch break. This is Jalton School, one of Aid to Tibet's original projects, started back in 1993. It was established by Jalton Rinpoche. Funds provided to the school were used towards starting the project, developing an electrical generating scheme, building classes, a playground and dormitories. Our trip was the occasion to give the school a brand new jeep bought by the foundation, and to admire the new canteen inaugurated a few months after Punsok's visit. It was a great pleasure to see it working. The canteen had all the tools, tables and place settings, all funded by the foundation. Jalton School demonstrates many characteristics sorely lacking in other Tibetan schools, and has gained a good reputation for teaching Tibetan language at a high standard.
in the primary school and the middle schools, they have opportunity to learn and speak and study Tibetan language. But after that, then they all have to, the medium instruction to study other things will be Chinese. So there is the problem. So Tibetans have to work twice harder, if not 4 times harder, than average Chinese. Right from the beginning they start one language. With that language they go up to the university. For the Tibetans, they have to first study their own language, go up. Then they have to study the Chinese, then they go up. So that itself becomes a big disadvantage for the Tibetans. So either they concentrate on learning Tibetan, become very expert in Tibetan language, in which case that may not genuinely give them opportunity for job later in life. But on the other hand, they don't want to just give up Tibetan language because that is their national language. So they have to study Chinese. But the facilities are not very good to study Chinese. Textbooks, teachers are not available. So that is the general problem we have here.
Near to the school is the Jalton Clinic. Built with the help of Tibet Foundation, its aim is to provide low-cost Tibetan medicine and give training in traditional medical systems to local health workers. Healthcare is a major concern in all Tibetan areas. It has the lowest standard in all China. Extremes of climate, remoteness, poor human nutrition, lack of hygiene can partially explain this situation. But it is also the cost of medicine, especially Western medicine, and the low levels in training of local people that make it worse. Before, every Tibetan village had access to Tibetan medicine, one of the most important traditional medical systems. It uses herbal remedies based on Buddhist principles, but almost all of this system was destroyed during the Cultural Revolution. Since the start of the Aid to Tibet program, the Foundation has been working on the revival of traditional Tibetan medicine. To understand the achievement of the Foundation's work in this area, we went to Sershal County. The trip took 7 hours by jeep. This meant crossing some of the highest passes in the region, like the Mugrilar mountain pass at 4,500 meters, before reaching the nomadic Sershal highlands. People from Sershal like to claim that they have 5 mosts. It is the furthest, the highest, the largest, the coldest and the poorest county in Kanzi Prefecture. A very appropriate location to start the work of the revival of Tibetan medicine. The Foundation project based at this hospital is called Sershal County Health Initiative. Started in 2000, the initiative was co-financed by the European Community and contains 3 schemes.
Number one is we train in the school to make Tibetan doctors, so that after 6 years you will have a full-fledged Tibetan doctors, and so that they can then practice locally. Then we have a medical unit where medicine is produced, so that more medicine will be available. Third thing, the medicine is manufactured locally and collected by local people, so that local people get some funds for getting. So there is the income generation scheme.
The Tibetan hospital is standing on the main street of Jirga, the county town of Sershal. Renovated and developed, it is now able to produce more than 100 different kinds of medicine. Because of the remoteness and size of Sershal, 2 jeeps have been donated to the hospital. And since the medical school started, 66 doctors have graduated. Most of them are now able to work in government hospitals, if they wish.
Te master Kaluma Tamchinga, Jesus Kaluma Tamchin and Ogirsa and Cotton Latiniga, Tartanga Sui in a pair of Zachikala, the Mamba Manzi, Hin the Montan is such a Tamchin Latan, Mambatic Son that he also Simchin Tamchin, a Pandit Toji, the Tamchin Deon, or one chicken Dimugo Zachika, Sajarina, Mamba, or Nini Simjika, Jimna, or a Wodic Mamba, the Nyon Yoga, or they get the Namon in a Wodic Mamba, the Chimayon. Tarta in a tail gets us on that on the cotton Latin, you could tell Dachikanaga, or tell Yamkarina, a woman by needed something in the daddy, or Temantad in the Tamchin, the Jiman the Tamchin in a work gets us on the cotton Latini. Oh, yeah, he's saying that you sent in Nabadi in the Timu and Ranka Patsaka, Kachakoji, Kakoji, so Hindinja cutting check at the Matao, Roquata was in Gana. Jenna have jerkin the Timu Magodi Tasumumi, Chena, you see when a tear Simaki, Timus in Jita, Tanaranta, Romnita in the Tasote, and Chesgin and the Nang and the Nasage in the Tasos, Sejo, or Ronald Kachakochi, Tatamjan.
During his visit, Karma witnessed the transfer of ownership of the Social County Health Initiative to the hospital under the supervision of the local government. It concluded 5 years of this pilot project, one of the best and most successful projects in the area. And in fact, the success led the local government to request the foundation to replicate the initiative in 5 other counties. After the official meeting, we had a little time to walk in the streets of Jirga, which made us realize how deep in the heart of the Tibetan world we were. Champa, the head of Jirga's traffic police, led us to our next mission, the visit of the Social Old People's Home. Champa is the one who looks after them. This project has been initiated by Social Tripa, the abbot of Social Monastery, located near to the home. Tibet Foundation has supported the Social Old People's Home since 2005. And our visit was the occasion to provide medicine to the clinic the foundation has funded, and to give each of the elderly a blanket and a coat. Helping old people is essential. The majority of them have no surviving family and no place to live, often squatting outside monasteries. The home is extremely basic, but each resident has their own room, stove, bed, and they all consider themselves lucky to have such an accommodation.
One thing you couldn't see is the old people are much happier. They are much more confident, they're much more contented, you know, and they feel that there's somebody looking after them. There's somebody who are thinking about them. So that is tremendous support mentally for them, and they feel much more confident. They are not just left out.
Close to Jirga, near the monastery of Boomsar, is another old people's home, set up by Tulku Sonam Yeshi. He is the abbot of Boomsar Monastery and also serves as a representative at the People's Assembly of the Kanzi Prefecture. He was our esteemed companion during most of our trip in Tibet. His mother is currently running the home. From 2000 onwards, Aid to Tibet program has been supporting the Boomsar Old People's Home, especially by providing yaks to the people through the Yak for Life scheme. The yak is a treasure for Tibetans. It gives them self-sufficiency, milk, hair, meat, and also dung, which is a good fuel in a place where wood is very scarce.
Dimazing the China, so Cheton, Che and Samdi China, Womichina couldn't jage mepa, Nachi China, Checha couldn't China, Tandi, Shojo and the John Mari, Mandok and Don Tamnatari, Matabnatari, Tomagachina couldn't shake mepa in the Redana. Have some number Takichina, Tandimuchina, Shamdak, the Shogo Samdichina, couldn't Chimbo Yan Samji, the Shana, Mulam Yaka, Jarjan Romartoko, Tanga Chachina, Gison Consage in the Checha, Talan Digichin and Jarner says. Kamu in the Sambati Chin, the Yoda Lu Yonere, the Nilo Mo in the Chin, and the Cotton Chimbore Dog Samdite, the cotton moose in the Dama Tontonde, Kagirgin Mepishinery, good Chaperkin, the Gison Consagin de China. Tashalon Tansam Napan Dimota, Tapton Dimu Chimbo the Yondite, the Low Chicken Mariloni in Man, the Lensa Chicken Lan Connery, then the Chonamari, Sardon Mari, the John Rosson, they took in the China, cotton moose in the Dang Tonton, the Hajagachina, cotton Chimbore dog sound in the Tangoshi Musan Yata was nature Tugner, then Nachigachina, Shana Molam Yahos, Sonachina Molam Yahos, Jagita Marta Nature China. Chacha Tunland digging Jarvis and don't say John Marda. The Tamchi Gana gave her a Pamagana Tunland, the Chechi at the Sam detail. Nachiga China, Laxam number Takachina, Samban to Guchina, Nacha Tizamba to Yoneri. Techina Chechi, Tamchi Kali, Gilichi, Samdan, Chechiga Terra, Namit, Cotton Jeji Mepayan.
Our visit to Boomsar Old People's Home coincided with the start-up of the new hydroelectric dam built by the government. It provides electricity to all the areas. It also caused flooding in the valley, damaging some of the buildings of the Old People's Home. With Tibet Foundation's help, the new home in this drier location is under construction. But for the neighbouring people, it is time to move to another place. On our way back to Jurga, we visited some of the nomads Tibet Foundation has been supporting. They also benefit from the Yak for Life scheme. Each yak costs £85. In fact, it's a female yak and its calf, which means they can breed and multiply to balance the inevitable death rate inside the herd. In terms of development, small projects like Yak for Life are a good way to empower people. They help Tibetans to help themselves. During his visit, Punsog was approached by monks of Bumni Monastery, close to Bumsar. They asked Tibet Foundation to support a project building a Kalachakra temple. Kalachakra means the wheel of time and is very important in Tantric Buddhism. The old abbot of Bumni made a promise to Punsog that he would not die before the completion of the work. 5 months later, the monks of Bumni received us and thanked the foundation for its support. They plan to start building the temple at the end of spring in 2006, and it should be finished within 2 or 3 years' time. This is what the temple will look like. And here is the site of the future temple where the monks proceeded to conduct a blessing ceremony, a puja. Most of the Buddhist monasteries were destroyed during the Cultural Revolution. Since then, many have been rebuilt and renovated, and despite 50 years of communist rule, it's amazing to see how the Tibetans are still strongly devoted to their religion. It was time for us to leave Sershal for Kanzi County, back to Punsog's birthplace, and the Darji Monastery, where he studied in his childhood. In the past, the Darji Monastery was so well known in the east that the whole region was named after it. Rebuilt in the late 80s, it is now functioning. Like Puntsog during his visit, Karma made traditional offerings and gave money to each of the Darji monks. They then performed a puja in honor of the foundation. This ritual is called Dolma Yudul and is dedicated to creating a positive environment for the well-being of the community. There are not only monks who live a Buddhist life. Lay people, especially the elderly, are also very respectful to religion. You often see an old man or woman circumambulating around stupas or adding their stones to a Mani wall. These ladies from Damajang village gather in the afternoons to pray and chant and also enjoy drinking tea together. Tibet Foundation has been giving support to such communities of Tibetan people. We stayed a couple of days more in Kanzi County. We had time to see the winter coming and time to see the bridge funded by the foundation in 2001 and built by the villagers themselves.
Tibet is a mountainous country, so you have so many rivers, so many streams. And sometimes it is without bridges on those rivers, it is very difficult for the communities to go from one place to another. For that reason, a number of areas we gave support to build bridges.
For the next economical development project, Aid to Tibet has done some research and is now planning to renovate this water mill and to build a bridge over this stream, which in summers turns into a big river and causes flooding. A last breath in high altitude, and we're back in the busy Tibetan town of Datsado, close to the border and near the end of our trip. We had the opportunity to meet Sipo Suji, Deputy Party Secretary of Kanzi Autonomous Prefecture. He wanted to relay the following message about Tibet Foundation. We had one last thing to do in Tibet, visiting the Institute of Tanka Painting. Tanka is a traditional Tibetan painting with brocade borders intended to serve as a record of and a guide for contemplative experience. These Geza tankas in the Institute are quite different. They represent the epic stories of the heroic King Ling Geza, a kind of Tibetan King Arthur in calm. During Puntsog's visit, the foundation was approached for cooperation by the China Association for the Preservation and Development of Tibetan Culture, a non-governmental organization set up with the support of the United Front Department in Beijing. According to them, the primary function of the association is to promote Tibetan culture, and they would like to cooperate with the foundation. For the Tanka project, they have gathered nearly 100 artists who will eventually create 1,000 tankas of the epic story. On our return journey to Beijing via Chengdu, the capital of Sichuan province, we met some of the students Tibet Foundation has sponsored or has been sponsoring through its vocational program. Some of them have spent a year in the United Kingdom to study English, such as Dawa Sering, an associate professor in the China Tibetology Research Center in Beijing. Working towards the continuity and preservation of Tibetan culture and helping Tibetan people wherever they are and wherever help is most needed are the main objectives of Tibet Foundation. Observing the efforts being made and the money the Foundation spent towards fulfilling these objectives, this journey helped me to understand them more clearly. Tibetans are still very poor. The conditions in which they live in this vast remote country are underdeveloped. Whatever projects the Foundation would like and is able to do, it will make a huge difference to the lives of many people. It's time now to say goodbye to Tibet, to Sonam Wangchuk and Sonam Yeshi, and all our companions and everyone we met during this journey. The story will go on to Jije and Tashidele.
When I went to Tibet, I was so overwhelmingly received by everybody, and the really warm reception they gave to me by the local people, local authorities, everybody, And I feel a little bit guilty, that they treated me almost like a great lama or some leader coming, I'm just an ordinary man. And what I wanted to say to them, at some point is thank you very much for their support, and our success is their success. And our success is very much their production, their help, their support, their cooperation. Without their cooperation, support and hard work, we will not achieve what we have achieved. So I genuinely want to give thanks to the local people, local authorities, everybody who made our project very successful. And then obviously I like to thank our donors, our supporters in the West who helped us, who made all the things that we did possible. Without their support and help, we could not have achieved what we have achieved. So therefore, I would like to thank our donors very much.